Got 30 minutes? Well, let's do a power clean together. Today we are decluttering our space to make room for everything that really matters. I know a lot of times people are always asking about how to keep a clean house, how to start decluttering, and all of those different questions. Well, in today's video, we are going around and we are going to be cleaning, decluttering, and organizing different areas of my house, and a lot of the areas that really matter most to me. My closet often is one of those areas that gets a little overwhelmed because I'm really good at throwing my clothes in here after they get washed and not putting them away. It's just one of those things of I'll make piles of the kids' clothes and Bobby's clothes and everything, and I'll make sure the girls' clothes and everything are put away, and then often forget about mine. But it got to a point where my closet was just feeling overwhelmed with stuff. So just going to take a quick 5 minutes. It's crazy because often we overwhelm ourselves with the idea of how long a project is going to take. But really, if you just buckle down and do it, they're often only 5 or 10 minute projects. So pick an area of your house today that you can spend 5 minutes in and get it decluttered and organized. Don't worry about it being perfectly clean. Often the hardest part is just getting rid of the mess, the visual clutter, and then the cleaning comes naturally. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Cambriea. I am a mom of 4. I have a 12, 9, 4, and 4-month-old, and on my channel, I am going to give you all the tips and tricks and all the motivation to get your house clean and organized and just running in smoother order. I have not always been one of these people that are super clean and organized, and I'm still not perfect at it, but over the years, I've figured out routines and strategies just to make my life easier. One of the biggest things I always tell people, though, is decluttering is key. I have been decluttering 4 years. I definitely do not consider myself a minimalist, but I have found that I am much happier in my space with less things. It makes my life so much easier when I have less to worry about. So even when it comes to clothes, this is what I have. I don't have a closet full of clothes and shoes and things, just the things that I grab for on a regular basis. I know the hardest part about cleaning is often just the mental load of it all. It can be very overwhelming. I think most of us out there, especially if you're here watching one of my videos, can agree that the mental stress of cleaning can be one of the hardest parts and one of the biggest hurdles to get over. So I just want to encourage you to just start. It doesn't have to be anything big. Every little project is a contribution to a much bigger picture in your life. So I want you to think about your home and visualize what you want it to be, and then just pick a small project. I always say progress over perfection, and you're probably sick of hearing it from me at this point, but it's the truth. So often we worry about perfection and then we get overwhelmed and we don't even start, but the progress is what matters, because one little area today is a little area you don't have to do tomorrow. So just take the time, visualize what you want in your space, and I promise it'll make a huge difference. And just start. It doesn't have to be anything big, but you always hear the whole a body in motion stays in motion, and it really is true even when it comes to cleaning. If you just start, it's so much easier. So getting past that mental block of getting the motivation to just start is your biggest hurdle. Once you get over that, I promise it gets a lot easier. Paper clutter is definitely like the bane of my existence, and I feel like it is for most people. One thing that we do in our house is we have this shredder right in our bedroom closet, so that way when we go through the mail, anything that we have to shred and get rid of. Now, I'm not saying we always do it right away, but we put it right on this shredder. That way we know, okay, this is an area that needs to get done. Sometimes I'll do it, sometimes Bobby will do it, and often Freya will do it. She calls it feeding the monster. So get your kids involved. Sometimes the little mundane tasks that you don't like doing, they can find very enjoyable. Freya is our 4-year-old, and like I said, she calls it cleaning the monster. And often if we ask her, hey, you want to do this? She is all about it. But bringing in the mop vacuum real quick, this is an area that I don't often clean the floors just because I don't think about it. So I wanted to get in here and get all the little dust bunnies and dog hair and everything, because even the dog hair sneaks into our closet. I think that's just life with animals. You got to learn that the dander and fur goes everywhere. My room is often my favorite spot to start in, either my room or the kitchen. It kind of depends on who is up first during the day. Lately, Bobby and I are up at the same time, but he takes the kids to school and everything, and he will sometimes come back home and go back to bed. It really just depends on how his and my sleep was the night before. But my room is one of those areas that I enjoy starting in because I spend a lot of time in my room when it comes to taking care of the baby and everything. And this is kind of my safe space. So if I'm feeling overstimulated, overwhelmed, which is, I think, common as a busy mom, it's nice to have at least one spot in my house that is clean, quiet, and serene. And it's a great way to just build a routine. Routines, to me, I think, are key to really maintaining a clean space and makes it so much easier over time. The quick tidy up of my room, of making sure my nightstands are clean, things are dusted off and everything, never takes me more than 15 minutes. And it makes all the difference in the world that throughout the day or when we go to bed that night, everything is nice and peaceful in our room. Now, I know everyone's looking for that perfect routine that they can copy and just like be that magic trick that magically makes their house so much easier to maintain. I honestly don't think there is a magic routine like that. I think it really just comes down to habit. So figuring out what habits will make it easier for you and starting with one at a time. I've read so many different cleaning books or watched videos on different cleaning strategies, and they're all really good once you have them mastered. But I think what is often forgotten and not talked about is starting small. Even when it comes to the Fly Lady or any of them, maybe just picking one thing at a time and mastering that skill before moving on. And I know that can be like frustrating because you're like, but I just want to like have it down. I just want to be able to do it and be happy about it. But it's kind of like losing weight or working out. You have to start small. Otherwise, you're going to give up. If you're giving yourself a goal that is unattainable in a certain amount of time, you are more likely to fail. So pick something small. If it's just making your bed every day, do that for 30 days. Just worry about making your bed every day. Those are things that will create habits. I just wanted to quickly show you this, how much dust and hair gets built up so quickly in my room. These little dusters are a must in our house just to be able to keep up with a quick daily dusting. That way it never gets overly overwhelmed. But okay, back to what I was saying. Those quick habits and tackling them one at a time. So make your bed every day. Do it for 30 days. They say a habit is formed in 30 days of consistency. And then you can move on to making sure your kitchen is, your dishes are done every day before going to bed. Whatever habits are going to benefit you the most. And I say that because I would love to be one of these people where I go to bed and my house is spotless every time I go to bed. But honestly, by the end of the day, I am so exhausted. I don't want to focus on making sure that the dishes are clean and all of that. So for me, my routine, it's easier to tackle it in the morning. That is the time that makes the most sense for me and makes me the happiest. I enjoy my evenings with my husband and my kids and just hanging out as a family and then passing out when I am ready to pass out for the night. And that is totally okay. I know a lot of people say, oh, you have to end your evening with a perfectly clean house, but that's not going to work for everyone, and that's totally fine. So figure out what works for you. I also know people that are like huge night owls and do best about cleaning at night. I know, I'm going blank. Amanda from This Crazy Life, she talks about how she is definitely a major night owl. Joanna Thornton, she's not on here anymore, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know who she was. She was like the queen of staying up till 3 a.m. and working on projects in her house because she was a huge night owl. I'm just not that way. It would be like me also trying to become a 5 a.m. morning routine person. Now, I am often up at 5 a.m., but you can bet I am not out of bed by 5 a.m. I have tried, and it's one of those routines that does not work for me. So figuring out what works for you and create those routines one little step at a time. I also really want to encourage you to make cleaning fun, and I will say it's not the easiest thing to do. Most of us don't love cleaning. I know there are so many influencers on here that'll be like, I just love to clean. I'm not one of those. I'm not. But there are ways you can trick yourself into thinking cleaning is more fun. One of those ways is setting a timer. One, it gives you a stop point, which I feel like mentally is super motivating to be like, okay, in 30 minutes, we're done. But also just trying to see how much can I get done in those 30 minutes, like giving yourself a challenge of, okay, I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm not going to sit down and do whatever. I'm going to take 30 minutes and see how much I can get done in the entire house or how much I can get done in just this one room, whatever your situation is, setting those timers. But then also set the mood. That can be by lighting a candle, turning on your diffusers, any of those type of situations. And then music. I love music when I am cleaning. There is something about good music that just gets you up and moving and just makes you forget about the time that you're spending. So I love playing music while I'm cleaning. You guys know me, 90s country. That is what I go to. But pick whatever's your favorite and blast it, because that is one way to really get your juices flowing and make it so much more enjoyable. If you enjoy a podcast, turn on a podcast. That's a great way just to get your brain to think about something else while your body is cleaning, or a really good Audible book. Those are all really good options to make cleaning just way more enjoyable.
You gotta know that I'm
As you can see, my kitchen was a complete disaster on this day. It's usually not this hectic, except the night before we had Sunday dinner, and Sunday dinners consist of either going to our house, my parents' house, or my aunt and uncle's house, and just hosting dinner. So we had my parents over, my aunts and uncles over, and everyone just really enjoys hanging out, chit-chatting, and enjoying a dinner. It's one of my favorite things we do since moving down here to Florida is practically every single week. Now, there have been some weeks that get skipped, but pretty much every week we have a family dinner, and this week it was at ours, so the kitchen was just a little extra hectic. And like I said, I don't enjoy cleaning at night, so I just save it for the morning. It doesn't bother me to do this in the morning, so that is always how I do it. Normally, I try to get this done before like Freya's up, things like that, but as you can see on this day, Freya was already up, so that does make a little bit more of a challenge when you are working with kids, because if you're a mom to littles that aren't in school, you understand that it's the constant of needing something to help with, but she has definitely learned, like, if I'm in the middle of something, I can tell her, if you can give me 5 minutes, and then it gives me another timer to set, 5 minutes, see how much I can get done, and then help her with whatever she needs done as well.
Did you pack the flashlight, the blanket, and the map? It's a real adventure, the trail you're looking at. I'm glad
One thing that always keeps me motivated to also keep my house clean is my space definitely is a representation of my mindset. I've talked about this before, that I am a neurodivergent, I have a seizure disorder, and there are just certain things that you can tell if I'm not mentally in a good space, or things that just overwhelm me super easily. So a lot of clutter and a lot of mess will affect my entire mood and outlook on life, which sounds crazy, but I know there's a lot who are like me out there. But having a clean space truly does make a huge difference on my mental health. I am this way even when it comes to big gathering. One of the things that I really don't like doing, but obviously as a mom is something that has to be done on a regular basis, is school events. I am someone that when I am in a big crowded area, I almost like blank out or like space out, because my brain is like on mental overload. And it does the exact same thing when my house is super messy and super cluttered. So taking 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there to keep everything in order is something that I just know in the long run makes me just a happier person and a better mom. Because we all know as moms, when we get overstimulated and overwhelmed, it really does affect how we mom. We might be a little bit more on edge, a little bit more likely to snap at our kids or anything like that. And I don't know about you, but that is one thing that I strive not to do. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but keeping my cool around my kids is something that I really try and work on, because I want them to have that same outlook on life. And how can I expect them to manage their emotions if we can't manage our own? So, positive moment from this week I was super excited about is I went over to my parents' house today to start another batch of breast milk, freeze drying it. And my dad mentioned that he's noticed that I've lost a lot of weight since having Athena, and that made me feel really good, because it's one thing when I'm noticing it from the way my clothes fit and everything, but when outside people start noticing it, it's something that for me is super encouraging and super motivating. So I was really excited about that. I still have a long way to go, but this year has been a year that I am focusing on a lot to do with myself. So making sure to have more time for self-care, working on just like me in general, trying to be a better version of myself. That way I can be the best wife and mom I can be. And I know it's really easy to say like, oh, well, you have to take care of yourself to be able to take care of your family, but it's really hard to not do those things. And this year, that is my focus, is to take care of myself. That way I can take care of my family to the best of my ability. I know I've been talking to you guys about that the past couple of weeks with the new year and everything, but that was something that really just like boosted my mood. When you've been working so hard on something and someone else recognizes it, it really is a good feeling. But I was running out of my multi-purpose spray. You guys know I love using a really good multi-purpose spray just all over. That way I'm not constantly changing my cleaning products or anything. So I just use Pine Sol pretty much on everything. So it's mainly just water and then a little bit of the Pine Sol. I don't measure it. It does have all the measurements on the bottle though. I do often get asked though about this glass bottle. So I got this years ago from Grove, the Grove Collaborative. So if you order off of them, that's where I got this one. But I do know you can find these glass spray bottles on Amazon. I believe they even sell them at like Target, all over the place. But I do like having these bottles that I can just refill, and I'm not buying new plastic bottles on a regular basis, especially when it comes to a product like this that I use constantly all over the house. But Pine Sol is one of those products that I am obsessed with. I love the way it smells. I'm definitely someone that I want my cleaning products to have a really good scent to them, because if I'm cleaning, I want my house to smell clean. You definitely, though, I've seen a lot of really good DIY cleaners. So if you don't like something super smelly and you want it a little bit more non-toxic and everything, you can do vinegar and water with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And then if you want a little bit of scent, add some essential oils. That is another really good multi-purpose spray and can be super affordable. Most of those things you have on hand. So that is another really good option. The other thing I really like doing is making my own Dawn Power Wash. So I have that Mister bottle. I got that one off of Amazon. And I just use half water. Actually, it's probably about 2/3 water to half. It's approximate. Like I said, I eyeball everything. And then the rest rubbing alcohol. And then enough Dawn dish soap till I think it's the right colored blue, which I know sounds silly, but I have just learned that there's a certain color that it gets that I find it sprays and works the best. Moving on, though, I am working on my junk drawer. Nothing too crazy, just trying to organize it out. I actually have a new organizer coming, I think, on Friday for this drawer that I'm really excited to try. I hope it works. I will show you guys when it gets here. I'm not going to talk too much about it just because I don't know if it's going to work or not. But I feel like a junk drawer in a kitchen is just like a necessity. This holds all of our like things we get for on daily: pencils, markers, scissors, measuring tape, all the little things, but often also collects just like random things throughout the day. A lot of paperwork and things like that. I do have like my paperwork storage in my laundry room, which is another area that I'm going to be going through, but often it just gets tossed in there. So about once a week to once every other week, I like to go through my junk drawer. And then about once a month, I like to go through this little paper caddy in my laundry room. This is where I keep any type of important paperwork. So bills, school stuff for the kids, anything like that. But about once a month, I can get rid of everything. For the most part, we do a lot of our bills paperless. So the paper that we do get is just like a reminder that something's going to be taken out of our account. And I always like to keep the month prior's bill until the next month comes in. But moving on, we are working in the refrigerator. The refrigerator is another area that I like to do fairly regularly. That way it never gets super overwhelming and it never takes that much time. I can just take one shelf out at a time and then, or one section out. I shouldn't say one shelf. I do one section at a time. So often I'll do like this main area and then I'll take a break and then I'll do a door and then the other door. And it's super quick and easy without being super overwhelming. I've also been working on not overbuying. I don't know about you, but I love those Costco hauls. When people post like $3,000 for my family of 6 at Costco or Sam's Club. However, one, I don't have the space for that. And two, I have actually really been trying to focus on not overbuying when it comes to food and stuff, because I find that we waste so much less food when we have less of it. It's a lot easier for me to make a dinner idea list when I can actually see everything I have in our pantry, in our refrigerator, but it also just makes it a lot easier to maintain the refrigerator when it is not packed to the brim with a bunch of different things. So I have been focusing more and more on not over consuming when it comes to grocery shopping.
Get it going tonight.
These body armors have become a ritual of mine every single day. I heard that it can help when it comes to breastfeeding, to keeping up your supply. So I drink 1 or 2 of these every single day to help with that. Just trying to make sure. I have such a fear of losing my supply because with my older 2 boys, now it's when I went back to work and I was working outside of the house that I lost my supply, but I always have that fear. And now that I'm exclusively pumping due to latching issues and things with Athena, I have tried to nurse her, but girl now has honestly no interest in it. She will like scream if I try and nurse her. She just wants the bottle. So I'm constantly trying to make sure that my supply is good. And yeah, body armor, that is like a ritual of mine. I have 1 or 2 of these every single day. Luckily, they taste amazing. But just to make sure that I'm getting all the vitamins, minerals, staying super hydrated, I always have that on hand. I know it's really important to stay hydrated and make sure your protein is at a good level when it comes to making food for the baby. This bottom section of this door was so dirty. I didn't even realize how much like crumbs and stuff had collected in here till I had pulled everything out. But yeah, this section was probably the grossest and was in desperate need of a really good cleaning. So I was glad to get that all out. Otherwise, I was just going 1 shelf at a time, pulling stuff out, quickly looking at everything. So if it was expired, I just tossed it right away. But even if it's just like stuff that we weren't using, I know I sometimes buy stuff for a recipe or because I think it looks good, but then we end up not liking it. And it can be really like discouraging of getting rid of it. But I have definitely been trying harder at not holding on to stuff just because I feel bad because I spent the money on it. Even when it comes to food. I know the other day I bought it was a chicken dip sauce that looked really good. And then I tried it. The kids, none of us liked it. I still held on to it for like 2 weeks. And I finally was like, okay, no one's eating this. No one's going to eat this. None of us liked it. And I just got rid of it. I know it's one of those things that can be like gut wrenching because you spent the money on it. It's food, which I don't know why food is one of those things that is so much harder, but it really is. But I've been working on not letting the idea of getting rid of it hold me back, because it's much better to have the space, be able to see what you actually use, and let go of the stuff that's just sitting there and honestly is going bad anyway.
Things got so complicated, not like it was before.
Here, I would show you guys real quick the table now that Bobby got it done. I love the way it turned out. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to decorate it because I took the lamp that was over here and put it over there. I think I want to find a lamp for here and then go through my decor and stuff and get a plant and maybe a small bowl there to decorate that table. But the other thing I am thinking about is that I want to put lamps on these two end tables, just because like at night and stuff, you don't want the big lights on. I have them on when I'm filming and stuff, especially it's gloomy outside today. But try and decide, do I put just lamps there or do I also add one to this table as well? I love having the lights over here though, so I got those rechargeable candles. These are the ones I ordered. I love it because they just go on this little base to charge, and they have the remote, the timer, and everything. So these have been on for about a week now, so I'm charging them up again. But I like having that extra light. But now I'm just trying to decide over here if I get 2 more lamps to add.
5 a.m. and we are in trouble, but we don't really care. Tell ourselves there's always tomorrow, but it will still be there. No,
So I did just go to the thrift store the other day and I found some really cool stuff for the entry table. I'm probably going to be working on that, and I'll show you all of that in Friday's video. But I was really excited about what I found. I went to a different thrift store than I usually go to. It's called City Thrift. Not great, but I know there's a couple different locations. I love thrifting, but thrifting can also be really overwhelming for me because you really have to like pick through items to find the perfect one. It kind of goes back to the I get very easily overwhelmed. So thrifting for me is one of those things of like, I want to love it, but I have to be in the mood for it, because if a thrift store is like chaos, which often they are, I have a really hard time picking through and finding the good things. But this last time I went, I did find some really nice items that I'm going to DIY a little bit because they might have been like the wrong color or something. But I'm really excited to work on that entry table. I love the way all these side tables and end tables that Bobby built me turned out. He's actually talking about building a new dining room table for us. Currently, our dining room table comfortably sits 5. And we'd really like one that will comfortably sit 6. One, when family come over on Sunday dinners, often one of us is sitting in the family room, which isn't a huge deal because, well, they're right next to each other. I do, though, think it would be nice to be able to have an area that everyone could sit at the dining room table, meaning me, myself, Bobby, my parents, and my aunt and uncle. So the 6 of us, the kids often sit at the kitchen island. But also Athena's going to get older, and then we will have 6 big, well, I don't want to say grown adults, but eventually. So I want a little bit bigger of a table. So we have been working on ideas for the dining room table. Bobby and I were actually talking about that today, trying to figure out size, dimensions, exactly how he wants to build it. I also think he's just getting the itch for another project. He loves doing projects. He will be like often like, oh, Cambriea has me doing another project, but that boy loves staying busy. He's definitely one of these people that if he is not busy, he goes absolutely stir crazy. So he brought up the table today. So I'm starting to think he's going a little stir crazy and wants something to do. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, watch one of these videos over here on the side if you are needing even more motivation. Otherwise, I'll see you Friday. Bye.